Coeur's favorite podcast. It's your man Tyler C. Today on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Now you all know that I like to bring you guests that haven't been. I like a diverse amount of guests, different types of people.
I'm so diverse.
Dude,
I'm an onion.
You're so many layers.
Kind of smelly. Makes you
didn't
cry.
say that. I didn't say
I'm telling you.
Boyish fumes. No.
Okay. I'd say okay to that.
I said this the other day at work. Teenage musk.
Sure. I know what you're talking about.
A number of things might come to your head, but I feel like when you say teenage musk, everybody has that certain smell that really comes out.
I agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, I had this long, elaborate introduction as I try to normally, but I'm gonna put this way. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Jacob Maxwell. Oh my gosh.
Oh yikes.
Jacob Maxwell is back. Listen, so Jacob Maxwell, I had this like huge thought out plan and I just said no. Brother Jacob has been on a number of times. If you have not heard one of those, I think this is your fourth time.
This is my fourth time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I talked about diversity before is usually I don't have people on that much. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a community experiment veteran.
Yes!
You a vet, young man. You a vet.
Oh, I feel so happy to say I'm a veteran.
Not only has this young man come on by himself, you were episode 3.
I was really early, like maybe 3 or 4.
3 or 4. We're at like 70 right now. 3 or 4.
Cool.
He then came back on with Miss Timmerie. Shout out to Timmerie. She's in France.
In southern France.
She's south of France.
She's in Aix-en-Provence.
Aix-en-Provence.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we got what's it called? What do you get with au jus sauce? What's the sandwich called? I keep wanting to say pulled pork. It's not pulled pork.
I know what you're talking about.
Man, shut up.
Oh, that's going to kill me.
I know.
I should know.
Either way, she got the au jus sauce. And I was like, I should do a video and ask Timmerie if is it au jus or agent?
Oh, I think
how you say it?
Bet it's definitely not au jus. I'll say that much. Okay. I don't know if it's whatever you just said after. Agent. I don't think it's that, but it's definitely not au jus, I would guess.
It's just like normal au jus. It's like super American.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jacob came on. For those of you who have not been listening for a while, again, Jacob's a veteran. So he came on with Timmerie. Then he came on with the young homie, Abel Siemens. Shout out to the young homie.
Abel Siemens.
Shout out to Croc Center.
Croc Center, Croc Kitchen, Salvation Army.
That's it. And now he's back, ladies and gentlemen. It's so hard because now you've come back and you're like a star.
I'm a superstar.
It's
huge.
And I've asked you this before, but first question, is it weird yet?
It is. I was worried it would be really weird. It's not really weird, but it's definitely weird.
Like noticeably.
Yeah, I wanted to prepare for the worst, so I was like, people could hound me. What if like my friends act like they like me more now? Okay. It wasn't that bad, but it is weird in a different way, in a more different way than I thought it would be.
Got you. Super, like a lot of support.
Crazy support.
Nice. Any negativity? Any like suck?
There were 2 comments that were negative, but they made me laugh.
Okay.
So The Voice. For those who haven't watched or know me or the show The Voice, I made it onto The Voice.
Oh my gosh.
We'll go into details, but
yes,
the video of my audition song was posted just like everyone else's.
Right.
And there's views and there's comments. Halfway through the comments, The Voice recomments to get more comments.
Oh,
I said comments so many times now.
Yeah.
And The Voice posted, but what about that crystal clear tone or some, classic phrase about singing to get more reaction?
Right.
And someone commented, boring. And I read it and I laughed so hard. And this other guy goes, Jacob's definitely gay and not talented enough.
Wow.
And I laughed. Honestly, I was really glad I didn't take it personally because I don't know, I'm hoping if I make it further, they can see more about Timmerie and, that I'm not gay. There are gay people on the show and it's not about that. Right. It's about your voice. And so I don't care if someone thinks I'm gay because
You're not.
I'm not, and I can't control what they think of me. Yeah. But I don't know where they got. I don't know. Maybe it was the shirt. I think it was the striped shirt that got people questioning, because they made me button down to my 4 chest hairs. I'm like, yeah, they think. I don't blame them for thinking that. They made me get all, femmy.
Femmy, okay, femmy. I was gonna say Hollywood, but sure, also works. Now, here's the only reason why I was a little disappointed. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the picture of when you and the homie Abel went on an adventure to Canada?
Yeah.
And you had the outfit on. Super buff.
The great optical illusion.
I was totally look at them guns. Oh, the camera too. Come, let's go. This is gonna be on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, yes. My only thing was like, oh man, I wish you would have worn that outfit, because you had the boots on and everything.
I had the boots. I had the shirt. There was a day before the audition, was getting ready, and I did bring it with me. Okay. But they give you a great option of clothing to fit what you want to look like. So you get to pick out some stuff.
So you have a stylist now is what you're telling me.
There may or may not be stylists for us in general.
Okay.
I don't have a Jacob Maxwell stylist.
Man,
I wish. But yeah, you get to really express yourself. They give you your best shot to wear how you want to be represented, and yeah, it was awesome.
That's tight. So let's break down the voice real fast. Okay. For those of the listeners like myself, who's not a real big vocal competition TV watcher, break down what the voice is.
Sure. So let's see. It's the 16th season. They do 2 years, so 8 years ago, roughly. NBC started a show called The Voice. 4 celebrity coaches are in chairs that face opposite of the stage, and singers from around the world have 90 seconds.
Oh, around the world? I thought it was just in the United States.
We have a contestant from South Africa.
Oh, Brew. Shout out South Africa. Okay.
Selkie. Selkie from South Africa. That's her stage name.
Oh, Selkie. Okay. Wasn't there a movie called Selkie?
Probably. It means it's a mythical water creature or a seal or something.
Okay. Or
a mermaid.
I feel like maybe the movie wasn't called Selkie, but it was about Selkies.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyways, I apologize, sir.
No, you're good. Selkies are very interesting. I think.
Is that at Starbucks, maybe? No?
Sure. Hey, that mermaid Selkie thing?
Yeah.
I would say that's
if you
in
know
the same
the difference
vein.
between a Selkie, a Selkie and a Selkie, a mermaid, and what's the other one? Sirene. If you know the difference between those 3, hit us up on Twitter.
Then you're on the show.
Then you're on. Hey, if you're in Coeurd'Alene, you can have a full breakdown of this, maybe.
But you never know.
Anyways,
so people from primarily the country, but a lot of people from other places in the world come onto this show, and they get on that stage and they sing for 90 seconds.
Cool.
If the coaches want to have that contestant on their team, they get to press a button that turns their chair around, which represents you get to be on their team.
Gotcha.
They only judge you by your voice, which is very fair. A lot of other singing competition shows in the music industry, you have to have the look. You can have the voice, but if you don't have the look, then you usually are ignored. So this show allows people who have the right voice to get a shot. If a chair doesn't turn, you didn't get on a team. If one chair turns, you're on their team. If multiple chairs turn, you get to pick. And the tables turn. Okay. And now the coaches have to fight for you to pick them. And it changes, and it's really, really exciting because celebrities who you've looked up to are fighting to have you on their team.
Shout out John Legend,
Shout out John Legend. This is so they've had very successful seasons. It's their 16th season.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever talked about wanting to audition, but I was really hoping to get a shot, and it worked out, and I auditioned on the show. It aired 2 weeks ago, and I sang "Delicate" by Taylor Swift, which I thought was really unique and could show a different style of picking a female song and making it my own.
Your own.
Very different than the original.
And my wife definitely loved that.
Yeah.
And I'm a little upset with you, but we'll talk about this later on.
For picking Taylor Swift?
No. For another reason, which we'll talk about later on.
Okay.
But
I'm nervous.
My wife was excited because she loves Tay-Tay. She's a Tay-Tay fan.
Timmery loves Tay-Tay.
Cool.
She's upset because she doesn't think I deserved to have the privilege of playing Tay-Tay.
Oh, wow.
Because Timmery's a mega fan.
Okay.
So she's like, you don't even know what you got to do. No, just kidding.
And you got picked off of Tay-Tay's song.
I know. It was crazy.
That's
so
hard.
Early on in the song, about 15 seconds in, John Legend presses his button, turns around, and right after is Kelly Clarkson. And I finished the song. Adam and Blake didn't turn.
Yeah.
And then I had the opportunity to pick John or Kelly, so they had to basically pitch and say, this is why you should pick me. And John said, this is why you should pick me. by the end of it, I had chosen John Legend. So I'm now on Team Legend of NBC's The Voice.
Listen, I got to say this one time. This is about you, but let me just go ahead and pop this out. Shout out John Legend.
Shout out John Legend.
Show, Mr.
Come on down.
Mr. Legend, feel free to come on.
He likes Coeurd'Alene.
Does he?
Mm-hmm. When I saw him in Coeurd'Alene, he was like, "Oh, I love that place because beautiful city."
Oh man, that's so. Is that wild? Especially being from Coeurd'Alene, like, is that wild to hear people, like known people, talk like that about Coeurd'Alene?
Yeah, not even just on The Voice. There's a lot of celebrities that have gone to Coeurd'Alene. I've always thought it was, perfect city, but to know that it's getting on the map is really exciting. I think it's really cool.
For sure. Now, here's why I'm mad at you, Jacob Maxwell.
Okay.
Like, I'm not a singer. I could be like a shower singer. If somebody turns some auto-tune on, I can sing, But my wife has always wanted me to sing and play guitar for her. Sure. And before the Voice, with the episode that you were on aired, you were on the local news. And when you were on the local news, you played a song, and do you remember the song I'm talking about?
I sang a few. Which one? So there was one in particular that spoke very clearly to the woman of your heart. Yeah, the one that's had Timmery's name in it.
Could you sing a little bit of this so the people can know? Can we get you to sing? Can we get you to sing a little bit? I don't put you on spot.
I'll tell you the lyrics.
Tell me the lyrics. Go ahead.
Okay, so the beginning, it's a short song, so I'll be quick. Call me when you get home, dear. Don't want you driving when it's oh so late. When you sleep, I hope you dream of me. When you sleep, I hope you dream.
Yeah.
And I want you to know I love the way that you look at me when you don't understand a word I mean. Cutest damn dimples I ever seen. Please don't leave me, Timmery. Timmery, I hope you know you're loved.
Let me tell you something, young man. Now,
So why are you mad at me about that?
Here's why I'm mad. Here's why I'm mad. I'm not gonna say you ruined it.
Okay.
Listen, and here's what makes it worse.
Okay.
I was on the news once.
Yes, you were.
And I didn't say nothing about my wife.
Oh, did she?
She didn't. But in her heart of hearts, in my heart of hearts, I feel like in her heart of hearts, she was like, "Why didn't you sing to me? Why didn't you sing my name on the news?"
Shout me out.
But good on you. I'm not really mad at you.
Right.
In the moment, I was like, dang, I'm never.
Damn it.
Valentine's Day's never going to be the same.
Oh, that's so funny.
And it was kind of around Valentine's Day. No, it wasn't.
It was
like a week after, 2 weeks
Yeah, it was actually in the month.
See,
yeah, it was maybe a week after or 2 weeks.
Shout out to my wife.
Shout out.
I'm gonna have to pay you one of these days to write. I'll write the song and then I'm gonna have you sing it.
Yeah, write the music and sing it.
Yeah. No, you sing it. I'll write the music. You sing. What do you think?
I'd do it.
Are you sure?
I mean, you'd have to give me some notice. If you're like, it needs to be at this tempo and it has to have this and this, I'd be like, let me put this together.
I'm gonna pay you to do an album specifically for my. Oh, you know what I should have you do? How would you feel? And you tell me.
Okay.
You feel free to say no. If I booked you, you know how people in Dubai book Beyonce for birthday parties. What if I booked you to sing to my wife on her birthday?
Yes.
I feel like if I don't get this contract signed now for
it'll be too late.
$100, it'd be like.
I would be happy to sing happy birthday to your wife on her birthday.
Man,
you just gotta give me a little bit of notice.
I'm gonna give you 2 years notice because you're
done,
young man.
Not next birthday, but the one after. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be so cool. Details are only on the episode, but the blind audition starts and it's her going, the first line, is that a guy? Mm-hmm. I've always made fun of myself as a joke to be like, I kind of sound like I could be a really deep voiced girl in some notes I sing. And I thought that was interesting that she had to quickly be like, is that a guy? So, I take that as a compliment that I can have that kind of
range. Is that called range?
Yeah. To have a higher range that's softer, that's more feminine, I think is an asset as a singer.
Most definitely. Now, so we're back with Jacob Maxwell. What else do you think is you bring to Team Legend? What do you think is gonna you're just gonna punch them in the face with it? They don't even know yet.
I want to continue to surprise them. I think I'll start off by saying that knowing everybody on Team Legend. I think someone from Team Legend is going to win. I really think that John took his time to be really careful with who he chose, and I don't think there's anyone that's alike on his team. I think for me personally, I want to continue to surprise people. I think it's surprising I did Taylor Swift's Delicate, and I want every song I sing to not show any sort of pattern. I want it to show, if anything, a pattern of adaptability. That I'm not just indie, I'm not just folk, I'm not just rock, I'm not just, you know, whatever you'd call country vibe too. I want to always do something different that makes people go, I want to hear what else he's going to do. What is he going to do next time? I think there's a few people that stick to a genre they're really good at, which is amazing. And I mean, the most famous people have their own genre. So that's great too. But I think I'm one of the few people on Team Legend that is actually diverse. Like going back to how you did the intro, I think I want to be really diverse, and I think that's something I have on my side.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to the audition a little bit.
Sure.
Take us through that. What was that process like?
Oh, so quickly to rewind, I was afraid to send a video submission in Audition because I just figured it was a waste of time. And I think like 50,000 people audition every season. And there's 2 seasons a year, so like annually 100,000 or more people are trying to get on the show. And I'm like, there's no way. It's a waste of time. Like, it's a waste of their time. I'm not that good. Timmery pushed me to do it, and she was like, what do you have to lose? Like, you don't hear back from a video? Like, is that really that much of a loss? You just wasted 10 minutes of sending in a video. So I did it, and I feel like God was just in the whole situation. I got a response, and I was like, that's not possible. And I was given the opportunity to work my way into the blind audition. And it's called the blind audition because the coaches can't see you, so it's called the blinds.
Nice. Now, is that a normal term, or is that what?
That's the show's term. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
it's
know
like
contestants only know that word.
No, yeah, it's the whole show. The segments go blinds, battles, knockouts, lives, and yeah. So the blind audition process was really cool. I've never been more nervous for anything in my life.
Wow.
It kind of gets really surreal when you get up there and then you realize all these days praying and hoping that I could be here. I have 90 seconds to make 4 coaches or one of them press a button and change my life. And it gets really surreal when you're standing up there and you're going, I have 90 seconds. I got to do something. I was really worried they wouldn't turn. And again, shout out Timmery for being the best girl ever. And shout out my sister Lainey. They said, you need to lie to yourself and tell yourself you're going to kill it. Because something with singers, or at least for me, I'll just speak for myself. When I get nervous, it physically changes things. Your throat dries up. When your throat dries up, your voice cracks. When you sing notes that you normally can always sing, you start to not be able to sing as high because your throat is dry and you can't expand as much. So if I get nervous, so nervous as I think I'm going to lose, I'm scared, I can't sing the song that I sang. So I had to get into the mindset and go, I feel great. I'm going to kill it. There's nothing wrong. And I was lying to myself the whole time. Up until I'm on that stage, I'm going, this is fine. This is nothing. This is just 4 people and hundreds of people staring at me and cameras, and it's not a big deal. And I psyched myself into it, and I sang the song, and I hit the high note like I wanted to. And it was just surreal, and it was a blur, and it was just amazing. It was like the coolest day of my life.
See, and I think I guess for now. How many people did you say you were singing in front of? I mean, like in total.
In that room, I mean, there's hundreds. I don't know exactly.
See, it's shocking because like we see you sing in front of people all the time, but it's like I understand it's like a whole different world.
Sure.
But that's one of the things that I was thinking. Like, is he more confident because he's used to singing in front of people, or you're still nervous regardless because of the situation that you're in?
I haven't been nervous for a show in like 2 years.
Okay.
It was just that it was the voice that I was nervous. I really enjoy singing in front of a lot of people and showing confidence and the story I want to tell and the example, like, I want to show God through what I do, even through secular songs, through kindness and love. But when I got on that stage, all of my confidence was gone, and I just lied that I was confident until I got the notes out.
The internal hype man.
Totally.
Did you have Joey Swope? Shout out Joey Swope. Did you have Joey Swope in your heart of hearts? I mean, besides Jesus.
Right.
Like, big things, bro. Big things. Was he like a hype man in that moment?
When he made that comment about big stuff every Sunday of my life for the past 8 years, honestly, every single kind word that someone has said to me or encouraged me into me was in my heart. I mean, it really is the most special thing to have people support you. And
That's
I mean,
dope.
not specifically was I thinking of Joey Swope
so
in that
Joey wasn't
moment,
on your shoulder like,
but,
you got this, bro.
But Joey, I love you.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Now let's take it back a little bit because you talked about how you are pretty much used to, you haven't been nervous about singing in front of people for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So, first time you come on the show, like there's been this like, now there's this like timeline of you, of us being able to kind of see you mature into your career as a singer. What's your title now? What do you call that?
Singer, songwriter, works, artist, musician, vocalist. I mean, it all kind of goes into the same vein.
Thing.
Yeah.
Into your musical career.
Yeah.
We've seen this timeline, right? And at the beginning, it was like, I sing covers and, all of that jazz. And then it turned into, because you were singing in front of people as far as like church and stuff.
Sure.
But then you kind of went into this whole thing of, like you had written one song for your home.
Yeah, I announced that I wrote my song.
Yeah. Wait, was it a friend who passed?
Yeah, it was a friend who passed away.
That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Then you started getting into like doing like live gigs and stuff like that. And now it's like, what's that process like though? Like from your side of things,
yeah.
Did it make sense? Like, what was that like?
It, looking back, I feel like God was, not to say that The Voice is the end all.
Right.
Because I believe that there's more in store for me in the future and for everybody on the show. But, I think The Voice is a huge stepping stone for my musical career. So in this, segment of this story, let's say The Voice is the end goal. I look back and I feel like God was preparing me for every little thing for this opportunity and for more in the future, because I look at worship leading and that prepared me for like several things. It prepared me with my relationship with God. It taught me musically, and it taught me with confidence about who I'm singing to and how it doesn't matter if there's one person or 500 or 50,000, because I'm just singing for God. And when it comes to performing as a musician, I'm playing music, and it doesn't matter who's listening or who's not, because it's what I like to do. Yeah. So I look at the beginning of, 13 at a talent show to 16, 17 worship leader at Anthem, 18, 19, gigging all around town in Spokane and writing my songs as this preparation and just kind of polishing to be equipped to go on to national television and represent my city and represent God and be a little bit more of a seasoned musician and vocalist. It's really surreal to look back and go, I really feel like God was using all of these things to add up and kind of introduce a more developed musician and Christian to America.
So it was like a David experience. You had the lions and the bears.
Totally. It kind of felt like that.
That's crazy to think about, though. Like when I was thinking about you being on The Voice and then like that whole process, just especially like seeing you on the podcast multiple times and what that process has looked like, it's been crazy to kind of see. First of all, let me say, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this in your life, but bro, we are so proud of you. Like seriously, my man.
Thank you.
Like that's
so
why
much.
in that video that I took, I was serious. Like,
dude,
fam,
that made me smile so big.
My guy, I was in my kitchen like because Ashley had just like played. Was it the YouTube? I can't remember what she played. I think she played the YouTube clip or like Hulu. I don't know where she played the clip or whatever. And I remember like sitting there like, do your thing, y'all. And then I literally right after I was like, I gotta say something. Yeah, dude, I was like almost in tears, man. Like, and I feel like that's why I asked you if there's been negativity, because I feel like that's what the city is like. Yo, Jacob, we are behind you, my man. Yeah. Like, do your thing, young man. Yeah. Do your thing. Yo, then you got on John Legend's team. Yeah, in my heart of hearts, I was like, bro.
I can't express how much it means to me, and I think saying thank you and saying it means a lot, it may sound routine or mundane, but it's the most special and heartwarming feeling to know that so many people care and support me and love me. It from the bottom of my heart, every single compliment and encouraging word means so much to me. Thank you. I mean, thank you so much.
It's crazy. It's really, we really out here for you. The Coeurd'Alene streets is riding for you, young brother. So let's take another quick break and then we'll come right back.
where an au pair would butcher me for saying this, but it's the equivalent of being a foreign exchange nanny.
Okay.
You go to a foreign country, and most of the time you move in with this family, and you learn their language, or if you already know their language, you come and usually you take care of their kids, whether that means you help them with English, or you are their nanny, and you make them food, and you take them to school, and you have a work schedule, and you get paid, and you get to stay with them, and eat there, and have, you know, like a place to stay. So Timmery's always dreamt of traveling. Her good friend Sierra, shout out Sierra.
Shout out Sierra.
She went to London, I believe, for like a year or something like that. And Timmery thought that was a really good idea, so she started praying about it. She started meeting a bunch of people and reaching out to other people who were au pairs. And they'd say, it's the hardest and the greatest thing you'll ever do, and I recommend you give it a try. And Timmery and I talked about it, which means she told me she was going. We didn't actually talk about anything. She said, I'm leaving. And I was really bummed.
Gangster.
And we had a bit of a scare of, like, this can either make or break our relationship. This can either bring us so much closer, or this can end us when you leave, depending on how long you leave. And she left for 10 months. She found out in August of 18 she was going to do it, and left in September. It was really last minute. She sent like a submission and got an immediate response. And I was like, oh, I was really secretly hoping no one responded to you, and you didn't leave. But she left at the end of September last fall, and she's been gone ever since. She got to come home for Christmas for 10 days, and she'll be back home in the end of May. And it ends up being like 8.5 or 9.5 months or something. She wasn't sure if she'd come home in June or May, so she's come home a little early, which is good. But I was planning on a trip to see her, and we picked March 4th to leave. And then that happens to be a Monday. And then I happened to get on The Voice, and it happened to air on the day I was leaving for France.
Man.
And I was really bummed at first. And like, I can't enjoy all this hard work I've put in to sit in, you know, the comfort of my home and watch this. Right. And it worked out because I got to watch it with her, but I was in the airport about to leave, and it started airing 10 minutes before my boarding call. And I literally watched my phone blow up with hundreds of followers, and my YouTube blind audition post get followers and viewers. And then John Legend tweeted at me, and I'm trying to respond, and it's going, final boarding call for Paris, France. And I'm like, no! And I had to lose my reception and get on a 10-hour flight. And when I got to France, I'm like, hi, hello, good to see you. And I turned on my phone and caught up on everything.
John Legend, bro. I
have to, you don't understand, Timmy. It's great to see you, but John Legend tweeted me, okay?
Fam, I was going to France. It's okay.
I was busy. I'm still here. And, I mean, really shortly after I got there, we hunkered down, popped open the laptop, and watched the episode. And I caught up really quickly, and it wasn't as dramatic as I made it seem originally, but yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's really interesting timing that I had to be patient and kind of take it in strides and have the kind of the peace of being in another time zone, and then get caught up without feeling so chaotic or pressured of like responding to everything. I took my time, and I think that was better for my mental health of being so excited and so invested mentally into making sure everything was, I knew everything going on, and I caught up on everything. I think it challenged me to like, no, that wasn't the most important thing. Yeah. And I got to be with Timmery, and we had an amazing time.
Yeah, talk about it, man. Out there in France. Shout out to all my homies out in France, you know what I'm saying?
I learned a couple French phrases.
Did you? Go, feel free to share.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Let's go.
So let's say you need to use the toilet.
Okay.
You walk in.
Okay.
And you go, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Est-ce que vous avez
Nope.
une toilette? And that is, hello, do you have a toilet? And I asked that a lot.
Okay.
And France doesn't have public restrooms, so you have to pay 50 cents to use the bathroom.
Okay.
So we walked in, and we wasted our horrible French impression of trying to speak in French, and they usually can tell we're English because we can't speak well in French. And then we had to go to an ATM and get 50 cents and then go, please, may I use your toilet? And
wow,
it was rough at first.
Now let me ask you this. I want to say it's France, but one country has these like public toilets, but they're like literally out in the public. Have you seen these?
Yes, I saw that in France. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Did you have to use one of those?
I just didn't.
Okay.
I just was like, you know what? I can wait. I think I'll go somewhere else.
I'll get a couple 50 cents.
I think I'll keep the 50 cents.
Was it awkward?
Yeah.
So they
don't even have like handles to flush. It's a button.
Really?
So you press this button that everyone presses with their little dirty fingers, and it just felt weird.
Okay.
Other than the toilets, Europe was awesome.
Okay.
So she lives with this family. They're really sweet. There's 2 precious children. And
shout out to the little homies.
Nathan and Clea.
That's so hard, Nathan.
It just looks like Nathan, and it's Nathan. It's like a silent and like Nathan.
Shout out to my wife. We might have to use that one of these days.
That's a good one. He was a baller. He was a cool kid.
That's tight.
He would grab his phone and make burp noises and pretend he was burping and try to make us laugh.
So he's gonna be a DJ.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got DJ blood in him. A French DJ.
Hey, French DJs is hard.
That's kind of cool.
Please continue. Where else, did you all stay in France?
We didn't just stay in France. So she's in a small place called, I'm butchering this, Aix-en-Provence.
Okay.
And it's really close to Marseille, which is a more well-known area in France.
Wow! Shout out to Monte Cristo. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we started in Aix, and she has her own bedroom and bathroom in their basement. They have a nice home. It wasn't like, I live in a basement. Yeah. And we stayed there for a day, literally that night. And we made a plan to just go to Paris for a day, which is like a 3-hour bus ride. So we went to Paris, and we saw the Pantheon. We're Pantheon if you're American.
Okay.
We just saw all the sights. We saw the Eiffel Tower from far away. We were exhausted to walk all the way there. We had the best coffee and food and atmosphere. And there's so much mystery as an American to be like, who is this man on the statue? Or who are these people representing? And it's just gorgeous. Cobblestone streets and... Oh my gosh, everything was so cool. It's just, I was like fanning out. Timmery's been there for 7 months, and she's like, this is the same. I know this. I know how to get around here. This is nothing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that building. Yeah. And she's like, what? It's just a building, because she's used to it.
And was that your first time out of the country?
First time ever leaving overseas. I don't think Canada counts, really. It's the same continent. It's technically a different country. It felt like the real first trip I took.
Yeah.
And we went back to Aix for a couple days. I caught up on all the jet lag and started feeling more myself. It's really, really difficult when you can't sleep on a plane. So you fly for like 17 hours and then you try to sleep, but it feels like daytime. It's like insomnia, like you're tired, but you just can't go to bed. Yeah. So we caught up, and then we made a plan to go to Italy, and we took a bus for like 6 hours, and we went to Genova.
Okay.
And that was honestly, in my opinion, better. I really enjoyed Italy. It's beautiful, best pizza you will ever have. Delicious cappuccinos for $1.50.
Wait, so
$1.50 cappuccino.
Was like a traditional cappuccino for $1.50.
Like literally a perfect, like the froth, the milk, the mixture with the espresso. It was the best cappuccino I've ever had for $1.50.
I'm gonna be honest, it kind of makes me mad.
Everything is so cheap there because they don't up everything. Like they don't hype everything up. They don't try to like upgrade everything. Like it's really simple, and they don't change anything, and that's why everyone loves it, because it's always the same. It's this classic, beautiful place, and beautiful people and things to do. We show up in Italy, we're walking to a hostel, and we see a man playing on the street. And Timmy recognized him from the last time she was in Italy because he's a busker. He always plays in that spot. He took a pause and started talking to somebody, so I walk up to him, and I'm like, do you speak English? And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty fluent. And I said, you're such a great musician. I loved your voice and your style. He was so good. And he's like, are you a musician too? And I'm like, actually, I don't know if you watch American television. I'm on a TV show in America.
Little part.
And he goes, oh my gosh! He rips off his guitar and goes, please play for me. And I'm like, what a bucket list to play in Europe. And I threw on the guitar and I played, and there was like a crowd going. And he's like, please play too. I'm like, oh my gosh! People were throwing money in the case. It was the best start to Italy. I think that's another reason why I just enjoyed it so much, was these more prominent memories. and we took trips to Cinque Terre.
Let me stop you real fast.
Go for it.
So the reason, and with that, when you were busking, is that what this is called?
Yeah, you can call it, busking or just playing on the street.
Got you. So the reason why, and you posted a video of this, right? Here's why I loved that video, and this is how you know Jacob Maxwell is hard in the streets of Europe. So when Tim Maria, who I'm assuming is taking this video, she pans to the left, and all of a sudden you see this brother in the background like this. Bro.
Really?
I saw. Like, I was like,
oh my gosh.
They loving Jacob Maxwell in the streets.
They loved it. It was so cool, and it felt so affirming that, like, it's not just Coeurd'Alene supporting me. Like, people from another country appreciated it. It was so much fun.
That I almost screenshotted the black dude and was just like, yo, you out here, bro. You out here.
I see you.
Anyways, keep going.
So,
after that.
Yeah, we went to this place called Cinque Terre, and it's basically those iconic, really colorful Italian homes right on the edge of the shore. And you basically, there's several of them all along the ends of the continent that are right at the ocean. And it's just gorgeous. You're just standing right at the beginning of the ocean going into what looks like the end of the planet, because the earth is flat. And sorry.
Prove it.
I'm just joking. And it's just, I can't even explain it. It's just so... It's like an out-of-body experience to just realize I'm 5,000 miles away and, stepping on things that I never stepped foot on in my life, and I'm in a completely different part of the world. And it's just, at the same time, to see people are really similar. There's people that act ways that I see people act in my life, and yet we can be so different with our language and what we wear. But at the same time, there's just... other people, and I know I'm kind of wording this strangely, but it's just really cool to, if you can slightly speak English with someone, they're just like you. They just speak a different language and live in another part of the world. I made connections with people, and so did Timmy, with really nice people that were from Argentina or from the UK who were visiting, and you make these connections and bond, even though you probably would have never seen them if you never took a trip. I think it's so worth it to travel and meet people and do things like that, because it's just so, like, you can never do it if you stay where you are. I think it's just a really special opportunity. We had a great time, went back to Aix for a few more days, and I flew home and got back a few days ago.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, because we're going to come back to that for just a second.
Yeah. A lot of people I meet, and that gives me hope that maybe I won't go bald because I'm white.
Dude, I don't. Well, and what's it called? Baltic? Not Baltic. Where's your dad?
Oh, Basque.
Basque. I'm sorry, not Baltic. We saw a documentary about the Baltic, or not the Baltics. What is it?
Oh no, yeah, Baltic. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I was like, is that where Jacob's from?
It's with a B. I get it. No one knows about it really, so I don't blame you for forgetting.
It's with the B, and it's not in America, so
that's all you need to know. That helps you get on the right track.
Not even remotely.
No, you're not.
So, and we're back with Jacob Maxwell. Thanks to our sponsor. We should make up a sponsor for the show.
Should we actually make up a real thing, or we'll get in trouble if we say a real thing?
I don't think so.
We're sponsored by Coeur hair product, because we have such great hair.
Okay. Okay.
I do use Coeur.
Do you? I used to back in the day, and then I started using Shea Moisture products.
Okay. I have all these little frizzies, and so it's just a little bit of pomade to keep it, manageable.
Nice. Now let's talk about this. When you were on The Voice, shout out Team Legend.
Shout out Team Legend.
Is it hashtag Team Legend or hashtag Team Jacob, or both?
I do both.
Okay.
I think if I make it further into it, I'll start being more Team Legend.
Okay.
For the blind and being like announcing it. It was Team Jacob, but I'm going to be representing the team in general more, I'd say.
So speak about that going forward. I was going to talk about something else, which we'll get back to now that you're back here in Coeurd'Alene. But speak about the competition for a little bit. Like, what does it look like going forward?
So the next phase of the show, for more people who haven't seen it, it starts with the auditions called the blinds. Yeah. And then it goes next into the battles.
Right.
You have to fight each other physically.
See, that's okay. No. So straight gladiator style.
I'm going to lose.
Nah, bro, we'll get you right in the streets, from the streets of Coeurd'Alene.
Yeah. So the battle, they just use really theatrical words to make it more competitive. It does get much more cutthroat into this part of the show. So Monday the 18th is the last episode of the auditions. After that, the following week, we'll be going into the battles. So now that the final teams will be filled by tomorrow or Monday 18th or whatever, there will be 12 contestants on each team, 4 teams of 12, so 48 people. Everyone has to go into their own team and break into duets. So 12 people becomes 6 pairs of 2. So I'm going to have to do a duet with someone else from Team Legend, and we're going to have to share a song together and sing it in front of the coaches, in front of an audience, and then John is going to have to pick who won the duet. Now, the other 3 coaches, this is where it gets kind of difficult to remember. The 3 other coaches have the ability to steal a losing contestant from a different team, but they can only use a steal twice in the entire battle round of all the contestants. So they're very particular about when they use their steal.
Yeah.
So sometimes, depending on how late you are in the battles, you could have no steals available, and the loser will have to go home. Other times, there's available steals, and a loser who thinks they're about to go home hears a loud button press, and they're on a new team.
That's wild.
So I'm going to be doing a duet with someone.
Do you know who you're doing it with yet?
I do know.
Okay.
I won't be able to say.
Gotcha.
But it's going to... The battles start in 2 weeks, and I think it goes for 2 or 3 weeks. So I'll be on, again, pretty soon, and people see who I go against and what I sing, and I'm super excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really cool. And I think people are going to love it.
That's real tight.
Yeah.
So how can people... is there a way for people to support you in that, or is it just because it's so far competition?
Before we get to the live shows, should I make it that far, it's just up to our coach to give us that chance and to continue to pursue us. If I make it past the battle and I keep continuing up until I make it so far as the live shows, then it's up to America to vote.
So that's what I was asking. That's what I was wondering. I mean, like at what? Because I felt like there was like this voting component, but that is going to come up.
It does
at
come
some
up.
point.
There comes a point when once the coach has chosen and then removed parts of his team, the teams dwindle down, and the 48 who make it on the show in the beginning become 24, and then they sing for America. And now it's the coach has basically presented the best that they have on their team, and it's up to America now. Instead of picking only within teams, it's just 24 contestants now.
Yeah.
And it's not so much about whose team you're on. It's more about, does America like you enough to vote for you? And who gets the most votes, who continues on to the next week.
Right. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Now, with all that being said, like, what is it like to be back here right now? Like, I mean,
it's the most, like, it's like you shake up a soda bottle and then you set it down for like 10 minutes, and you're like, is it about to explode still, or can it calm down and go back to normal?
Right.
Like, I'm totally happy to be home, but it's killing me. I want everyone to watch the battle already. I want to, hypothetically, if I won the battle, I want to keep going on this opportunity. If I lost the battle, I want to keep going in music in some area. So whatever happens, I'm just so excited. It's not a negative anticipation. It's just like, I really want people to see, and I really want to keep going.
Yeah.
You know? But it's super good to be home. It's great to have that almost like refill of your family and your friends and the support and alone time. It's a lot of fast-paced stuff. And so it's nice to get a break at the same time.
So like on one of your first shows coming on the podcast, you talked about growing up in Coeurd'Alene, and I think the question that I asked you was, do you think that growing up in this small town influenced you to become a musician or influenced your music? And I think your response was something like, no, but it gave me the time and the space to do music, to play, like to learn music.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Do you feel like that same type of revigoration is not a word, I don't think. Do you feel that same way, like right now being home in a certain degree? Like you were in the busy city, you were, like you said, there's like a Coke bottle shaking up. do you feel that same way in this regard? Like, is there a piece of that is like you now have the opportunity? It's like the calm before the storm almost.
I totally do. I think it's such a blessing to come home and unwind and enjoy and soak up watching yourself on TV and the love and support, and to get a little bit of like some clarity and to clear your head a little bit. Yeah. And to kind of go back to the drawing board and be like, all right, what am I going to do next? Like, how can I continue to grow as a musician? And to have that, I mean, literal separation in space, I think is so cool, especially being in Coeurd'Alene, to be away from it for a little bit and have that opportunity, like I said a while back, to have that time and that headspace to be like, I got to keep going, and I have the ability to just focus on it without trying to juggle a million other things going on, like lights, cameras, 4 coaches who might turn for me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I totally agree with that still.
So what was it? What do you think it was like for your? Because we saw your mom and dad. Was it your mom and dad, Shannon and
Austin and my sister Lainey, and my great aunt Mary from Long Beach.
Shout out to the great Aunt Mary from Long Beach. Great Aunt Mary. That's hard. Your great Aunt Mary lives in Long Beach.
She's the best.
That's hard.
And when Timmery flies home, she's staying with my Aunt Mary for a couple of days to recuperate from the jet lag, and then just fly home. Because she's like the sweetest lady ever.
She's awesome. Long Beach.
Long Beach Mary.
Oh my God, Long Beach Mary. So, what do you think it was like for them, like being there? Like at one point, I actually reached out to Shannon and Austin and was like, "Yo, like, talk to me." Yeah. One of the things that Shannon mentioned was when you were playing the song, and I think John turned around, like how you like looked over to them. I think we all saw it, but it was just like, you couldn't tell that you were looking at them, but then when she said that, like, what was that time? I mean, it was just like, it had to be like crazy.
You know,
right?
It's weird because when it was over, it felt like a flash. It was super blurry. But I can remember being in it. It was the most full 90 seconds of my life. It was really, really like I was in the moment for every second. So I can remember it all clearly, but it feels fast now. It's kind of hard to explain. But you know, when the chair turned, and it turned really early, and John even said he took a risk by turning early, and he's really glad because I hit the high note and showed him my abilities and made him not regret it. Right. When the chair turned, my mom and I have this funny relationship. She's like truly the best woman I know. Shout out, Becky.
Shout out. You are correct, sir.
Yeah.
Shout out, Miss Becky Maxwell.
Yeah. And, you know, she's always like ultra mom mode, like still making sure I tie my shoelaces, still making sure I haven't forgotten my guitar when I'm going to a gig, and do I have my debit card? Is my license for some reason not in my wallet? Like I'm always like, Mom, like let me be, I know I'm young still, but let me be 20 and go to work, you know? But in those moments, I just have love and appreciation. There's no silly frustration. I got the chair turn, and I just look at my mom, and I'm just like, I did it, Mom! Like, it was, I just felt so happy, and for whatever reason, I just looked right at her. And I just knew how proud she is of me, and how excited they were, and I just wanted to share that moment and just look right at her. There's a great part of the song where you go, you must like me for me, and there's just 4 beats without singing, and I took that pause and just looked straight at them and like, oh my gosh, and then I finished, and then I got straight back into the zone. I'm like, all right, gotta not make them regret this because the song has more to show, and I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, it was super cool. It was such a, I'm so glad they showed that moment too, because I know who I was looking at, and they knew, and that's kind of a special thing we can watch forever.
I could like literally like tear up right now thinking about that. Like, it's crazy, my man. Like, what about for your dad? Like, shout out to this. I always like when I'm driving off in the cut somewhere, I'm like, if I get pulled over, it's gonna be Jacob's dad.
It has to be.
Oh man. Anyways, what do you think it was like from his side though?
You know, shout out to Scott Maxwell. I'm so proud of him because in the line of work he's in, it's a scary place to be aware of what goes around in the city and in the world. And so to have the anxiety that he battles with, getting off of work means he gets some time to be safe and not be risking his life for 12 hours or, you know, however long it is. So the fact that he loved me enough to fly to LA and watch me perform and be on national television with all dressed up and lights and cameras, and not be bitter because I know that it was hard for him, but to grab the, you know, the bull by the horns and to just be like, I'm going to support my son. And I know this isn't my cup of tea and I feel pretty uncomfortable. It meant so much to me that he came and that he just totally disregarded what he struggles with and was supporting me. Yeah. And I think a lot of people would imagine when they ask me, like, oh, does your dad have a hard time supporting you being a musician when you come from 3 lines of law enforcement? Because my great-grandfather was in law enforcement. Wow. His dad was a sergeant. Now he's a lieutenant. And I wanted to be a cop until I started playing music. Everyone was like, oh, was your dad supportive, or is it weird that his son's more autistic and long hair and, you know, more sensitive? And he's never, ever had a problem with it. He has been one of my biggest fans. And to see him be so proud of me just makes me feel like $1 million, because everyone, whether they want to admit it or not, wants their parents' approval. And it feels really cool to see how proud he is of me, because he and I have a really unique relationship where we see things differently almost all the time. And we found this respect with not understanding each other, but knowing, like, I respect you as a person, so I'm going to not quarrel over these differences and just love you. So it was. I mean, I could go on about how much it means to me that he came and supports me. It's really cool.
So my dad passed away like in September, I want to say, of last year, and one of the things that oh no, man, that is life. I know he's in heaven right now with Jesus praying for me as we speak. Yeah. But one of the things that I was talking to my boss, shout out Terry Edelman,
shout out,
who has a crazy background, and we were talking about, because my dad has a pretty crazy background too, and we were talking about just the idea that of being proud of your children. And me as the child, knowing that my dad was proud of me when he was on this earth, like, you could say whatever. My TED Talk will come out one of these days, and there will be crazy comments. I don't give a damn about your comments. My father was proud of me and is proud of me.
All that matters.
Dude, it's crazy, man. And even, like, talking to friends who grew up without dads and that dynamic and understanding what that's like just understanding how important it is and how, like, just that feeling of making your parents proud is, like, I can't imagine, and especially, like, from your context on that stage, on TV, like, it has to be wild. It
absolutely
has to be.
It's really cool.
So you are back in small town America working as a barista. Talk about that a little bit. Like, so are you still at Le Peep?
Technically.
Okay.
So this is like the slowest time ever for a lot of restaurants and cafes and breakfast places. Colder weather and slower seasons of people being in the city. So it's really worked out because the people at Le Peep are so great that they don't mind that I am not working right now. I'm still an employee there. I haven't been working shifts, and I will be when things pick up. So it's basically not a leave of absence, but, like, they're going to use me when they can, and it's okay with me that they can't use me right now. Right. But I do need to make a little bit of money. So I hit up Shane at, shout out Union.
Shout out Shane.
Union Roasters.
Union Coffee Roasters out here off in, what's that, like 4th Street?
Yeah, right up 4th Street before you hit the freeway.
Yeah.
And used to be Grumpy, that place, if people know, that area. But
across from Dave Smith Maserati.
Exactly. That's the best way to
Maserati,
locate
Alfa
it.
Romero.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Shane has been a friend of mine for years, and he was a mentor for me when I was a teenager to do his for the Kingdom's small groups and stuff like that. And he's like, hey, do you need a part-time job? Do you want to learn how to make coffee? And I'm like, sure. And I was worried because I feel like a true barista has to be so insanely passionate about coffee. And I think because he's a brother and wants to give me a job, and you know, not every single person who's been a barista is super passionate. I have this middle line of, I love coffee. I'd love to learn more about it. And I think I can do pretty good at customer service. And it's such a great place to be. If anyone's ever been to Union, it's just such a bright environment. Yeah. And so I got the job about a month ago and working with all the greats, Fred and Caleb and, you know. And yeah, I'm a barista, which is so upsetting to say that, to be, people have always teased me about being a hipster. Okay. I'm like, I'm not a hipster. I'm just, you know, Jacob. But like, no, I'm becoming a hipster. I work at a coffee shop. I have the man bun. I play the guitar. I wear the jeans. I am fitting the stereotype. I love making coffee, but I think on paper it's like, oh, of course, I am becoming this person.
You check the boxes.
Yeah,
I think it's hard though, because like pretty much what you're saying. I mean, I think you're hip. You're not a hipster. That's what I.
Thank you.
You're hip.
That means a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
So is it odd now with people people have known who you are, but like, what's that dynamic like? Is it like people walk in and just like, wait, I know who you are.
Like
because of the voice.
Because of the voice?
Yeah.
That's super weird.
People who you didn't know previous to the voice. Is that happening more? Or is that happening at all?
So far, just being back so recently from France too, there aren't a lot of strangers who go, I saw you on The Voice.
Gotcha.
Because Coeurd'Alene's so small too.
Yeah.
But there was a lady who knew me from just a wedding gig I did, who was like almost starstruck. And like she was like, oh my gosh, it's you. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I saw you on The Voice. I'm so excited for you. And oh my gosh, will you please take a photo with my kids? And I'm like, sure. And she has two cute little boys, and one kid's older, and he just said cheese and was perfect, and the other kid was bawling his head off, horrified of me.
Wow.
And he's just like open mouth sobbing in the coffee shop, and I'm just like, cheese. And I was like, this is not the best first fan photo. Yeah. But yeah, there are a few people that walk in, especially before it aired. This lady who I have no idea who she was, she goes, excuse me, sir. I heard a little rumor about you. And I go, oh, what is it? And she's like, you're on American Idol. And I go, no, I honestly just want to say nope and walk off. Like, I don't want to have this conversation right now. But I was like, no, I actually auditioned on The Voice. And she goes, oh, I've never seen the show. Do you know what happened? And I go, well, auditioned is past tense, so I do know what happened. I can't tell you yet, but yeah. And she's like, okay, so whose team do you pick? I'm like, so I can't tell you. It was this very interesting, difficult conversation. Other than that, it's just been friends who congratulate me and show me love, and it's been pretty nice so far. But there's a couple weird ones that's like, that was really interesting. I wouldn't have expected that.
That's wild. Now let me ask you this, and we're not gonna keep you too much longer, man, because I know
I'm so busy.
You are just famous.
Being famous means you just can't do things anymore.
I kind of feel like that's true.
Kind of. I think famous people aren't as busy as they say.
Okay.
I think they have their crazy busy times, but I think a lot of their busyness is I need time to be on my own and be myself. I don't know for sure because I'm not famous.
About, well, first of all, you are. Secondly, that's what I wonder though about like you get to the point where you can't go out and just be. You know what I mean?
I think about Justin Bieber when people talk about that, because he is hounded. And I feel bad for the guy. Like, there are people who are at the most extreme of popularity where they can't go outside.
Right.
And I never hope to ever get that big.
Right.
I do hope to get very successful, but I think that's really, really hard on someone.
That's rough.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: have you been writing more in the past year or so?
Absolutely. Yeah. The news thing that you were mad at me about for shouting out Tim Marie.
Yes. No, that sounds bad.
No,
I
wasn't
mad at you for shouting out Tim Marie.
Mad at yourself.
I'm mad at myself because I didn't take the time. And I got a guitar at my house for my birthday a couple years ago, and I could, if I wanted to, I could. Oh yeah, see, I could hit it with one of the. Woo! I can hit it with one. That's a very traditional thing in the black community. A lot of people will know what that's from. Oh yeah, that
what
right
is
there.
It?
You gotta just One of these days, I'll let you know.
Well, I'm never gonna get black.
Well, it's not just black. It's just like I feel like
maybe Louisville.
No, it's like the black community. Like it's like a stereotypical like 90s R&B.
Okay.
Like oh yeah, it's like the
it's like just the same expression or sound. Like a lot of white music is like yeah. But you're like ooh yeah.
That's the one where Justin Bieber might be like yeah.
Oh.
Is that Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Baby. That's his first hit.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to what we were saying.
So you're writing a lot more. What you been writing about? Timmery
with the Timmery song.
Right. Is it called Timmery?
Yeah. Okay. It's called Timmery. I think she's such a pretty name and such a unique name.
For sure.
And you hear other songs like something like Olivia or Georgia Y or something by John Mayer. Mm-hmm. And they're just names that are popular song names for females.
Yeah.
And I think Timmery's so unique that you could totally write a song about Timmery and most people would be like, oh, that's such an interesting name. Like, It's not like, no offense to girls who have more common names, but it's not like, oh, Helen. You know what I mean?
I was like waiting for you to say Ashley or something.
Or like some boring name like Ashley.
Oh, God. No, she like sees you and punches you in the face.
Seriously, she would.
That'd be hilarious.
I've been writing a lot more than, especially the last couple of times I was on the show. Mm-hmm. The news show I was on, it was actually a really rewarding feeling, and I definitely could write more. Mm-hmm. There's a friend I made on The Voice who writes a song a day, and has been doing that for like a year.
That's tight.
I mean, that's really, really a great thing to do.
You know who used to do that back in the day? Lecrae.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I saw Lecrae in concert.
Did you?
Yeah.
In Spokane?
Uh-huh.
That's crazy. Anyway.
I was 14.
That's hard.
He sang background.
What?
I can play the background.
Oh, okay. See.
You can take the lead. Do you know that song?
I do, but that's when I was not listening to Lecrae.
That was when he was newer, I think, and I thought it was maybe not newer, but new to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, the news show. Shout out Lecrae. I can't wait to see you. See you soon after I get off this podcast. I'm actually hanging out with Lecrae after this. That's why I'm so busy.
Also, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
You and Lecrae are going to go down to O'Shea's and have a green beer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Guinness?
You guessed it.
Shout out Derek Butler.
Yeah, oh, wow. So the news thing I went on to the news, and they have this segment on Friday mornings called Good Day, Gotta Hear It. And they gave me the rundown. You feature a musician, and at each commercial break, you share like 30 to 45 seconds of a song you've written. And then at the end, you get a full song length, and they get your name and plug your media and, give you some exposure. It's really cool. Yeah. And it was before The Voice aired, and I thought it'd be a really great thing to do. And they said, you're going to have to end up playing about 6 originals, but short segments of each original. It's not in full. And my first thought was like, I'm such a lazy writer sometimes. I don't even know if I've written that many songs. And I'd written more than that in their entirety. I had 6+ songs fully written that I almost forgot I had written before, and looked through old songs I'd written. And it was really rewarding to go, I have multiple, I have an abundance of songs that I have written that I kind of forgot I wrote and didn't quite put into, an album in my phone or a file. Yeah. And I've written like quite a few songs now, and it's a really cool feeling to be like, oh, I can be a segment on a show and play my music and not just that one song I wrote, a year ago that I showed you, or a year and a half. And and I'm trying to change up my style and experiment. I wrote a song recently called All I Want, and I'd love to kind of keep that in my pocket for a while and maybe show it one day. Okay. And I think it's really cool, and it's totally different than what I normally do. And then I have my normal sound with the acoustic finger picking stuff. And I'm super excited to see where The Voice takes me, and then show my music I've been working on. And I think it's gonna be really cool. Yeah, because that's like I think it's always like in the back of everybody's head, like what comes next after The Voice. Like, regardless of what happens to The Voice, like because you get so much exposure on that show that it's like hard to believe that you're just going to come back to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and you're going to be playing weddings, and you know what I'm saying? Like, in your mind, like, what do you think comes next? If I had to guess and be like a confident guess, I think I'm going to go to the lives. I think I'm going to make it to a good part of the show. And I truly don't think I'm going to win. And that's totally okay with me, because the main thing everyone wants from this opportunity is the platform. Yeah. And that's what the producers want for us. I mean, out of 48 people, one wins. That if they truly wanted everyone to win, it'd be different with how people win. I think that I will have gained the reputation and gotten the face out there to be picked up by something, whether that's a booking agent or a record deal or something in between. I think I'm going to be coming back in Coeurd'Alene, hitting the ground running. And whether that's staying in Coeurd'Alene but traveling more with songwriting or touring or working on an album with someone who lives somewhere else, I'm not quite sure. But I have a feeling this is the beginning of a really, really big season of my life where I'm really going places. I really think this is the beginning of something really, really cool.
Most definitely. And there's a bazillion things I could ask you outside of that, but we're gonna stop it there, man.
All right.
That's tight. That's tight. Real quick, man. One thing I will ask you though, and I 100% agree with you. You are definitely going places, and I think there are like
thank you
thousands of people in this town right now who are like praying for you and praying with you, and like my dog, do your thing, young man.
Thank you.
But real quick too, that young kid right now in Coeurd'Alene who is on their porch recording YouTube videos right now. Like, what do you have to say to that little guy or little gal?
Yeah, little guy or gal,
or non-binary, is it what it's called? They don't identify with guy or gal.
There is something. Yeah, that is a thing. Yeah. I would say. I want to say something good. I'm not out of words. I just want to say something important. It takes time. For some people, it takes years and years and years, and for some people, it's quick. And you can't compare anyone else's pace or progression to your own. And so some people get picked up overnight, and some people it takes 4 years, and some people it takes 20. The pace you're going at and the level of growth that you're achieving right now is going to continue and grow. And you have to be humble, and you have to know that there's always someone better than you to push you. And to know that everybody's got a talent at something, but not everyone can tell a story. And I think it's really, really important to be intentional with what you're doing, but to be excited for what's coming, and to... I believe it was Mike Schamberg, shout out Mike.
Shout out Mike Schamberg.
Who either shared this or wrote it or something like that, a phrase, fall in love with the process.
Yeah, he did on the Women in Women podcast.
Yeah. To realize that there is an intention and a purpose for every part of your life. And to look at when I was 13 and at a talent show, thinking I'm probably just going to have this as a hobby, to being 20, and that was 7 years ago. That's crazy. And to be 20 and to be on The Voice right now, there is a process. And if you waste your time being stressed or trying to skip, I think that's going to be a problem. So to take your time, fall in love with the process, love people, and be patient with yourself, and be humble.
Jacob Maxwell.
That's what I got to say.
Man, thanks again for coming on the show, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Love it.
We are praying for you, young man.
Thank you so much.